Assalamualaikum guys, today we are going to talk on HTML pages in Flask and Jinja 2. You can see that PyCharm has already created templates folder for us. There will be always a folder of templates if we create project using PyCharm. We have to add our HTML files in this folder. Let me create a new HTML file with index.html name. Index. You don't have to write the extension .html here because PyCharm will manage it by itself. I have written index and I have to press enter. You can see that HTML page is created for us in PyCharm. Let me copy some HTML which includes Bootstrap 4 and let us see that how we can get that page through route. So I'm here on W3 School. Let me copy this all. Control A, Control C, coming back, Control A and Control V. So we should get the same page which is displayed over here. To make the HTML page work on login route, we will use a function called render template, and this function is part of Flask framework. Let us see that function. You can see that it's underlining it, which indicates error because we have not imported this function. Let us resolve it using Alt plus enter. Alt plus enter, and you can click this import flask.render. So this is the beauty of PyCharm, that it will add the function by itself. You can see right over here. To see whether this is a function or a class, you can click on render.template and press Ctrl and then double click it, and you can see that render template is actually a function. So going back, this function requires the HTML page name and search that page in templates folder. So we have already got index.html right over here, and we have mentioned that over here. Let us run our application and see the changes. Over here. So these all changes are made in this login route. So I would be pointing towards login, and you can see that the changes are made. It is actually calling this index.html page. And let us see our webalizer as well. You can see that it is using Bootstrap, Python plus JavaScript jQuery. Let us see how can we add JavaScript files in our Flask project and how we can add those JavaScript files in our HTML page using Jinja 2. So I am on index.html and I would be using Jinja 2 syntax for adding JavaScript file on our HTML page. We can see that our project contains Jinja 2 as well. You can see right over here that this is Jinja 2 in our project. Let me add the JS file with the help of Jinja. Let me place my file. So you can see that this is the syntax to get the JavaScript file from Jinja, and by default Jinja 2 looks in the static folder for JavaScript file. So you can see that PyCharm has already created static folder for us and there is nothing in it. So let me add a new JavaScript file which will be added in the same way the HTML file was added. Just write test over here. You can see that it has created an empty test.js. Going back in index.html and renaming it because we have created test. Let me perform some action with JavaScript. Going back to test.js and placing this function, and I would be adding event listener in this button tag. On click say hello. So whenever we are going to click this button, it is going to hit this function and going to show hello world. So let us test this by restarting the server. Going here, going to login. So you can see that it's working. This is showing this page because the action over here is action page.php. Let us remove this and restart it. 27 login, and you can see that it is giving us Isra over here. So I hope that it's clear now. Now we will see that how we can get data from URL and can get it in Python and place that in our HTML file. So to make this happen, go to your app.py and place this code over here, and don't forget to add this score in the parameter. So the URL, which is actually the route, it would be taking an integer and it would be storing that in score variable, and we are passing that score in our function, and we can access it over here as score, and we can pass that in index.html as well. Score, let us render that in our index.html. Remember me, we are going to place this over here with s because s contains score. So let's test it. Let me restart the server, go back to the page, let me refresh it, and you can see that it is giving us error because we haven't specified an integer in URL. So let me place any integer over here like 3. You can see that it's working, and it is placing this integer here because we have specified this variable in index.html over here. Remember me s. So let me replace 3 with some other integer, 44, sorry. You can see that it's working. This is actually something which will help us a lot in deleting or updating our records from databases. And in case if you're not specifying the integer, by default it is going to take a string. Let us test it. Sorry, I just forgot to restart the server. Don't forget it whenever you are making changes in .py file. So coming back over here and you can see that it's working. Some of the brilliant students, it's working. There are more things that we can do in our HTML pages with Jinja, and we are going to see it in our next video lecture. I want you guys to make HTML pages and place in your routes and test them. Allah Hafiz.